Whenever we talk about AI adoption, our minds usually jump straight to the big stuff, right? The systems, the training programs, the governance models. But what if that's only half the story? Today, we're going to dig into the other side of the coin, the really personal side, what it takes to cross the human AI adoption gap. All right, so let's break this down. On one side, you've got your enterprise adoption. Think of this as the bones of the operation. The systems, the governance, the training, it's absolutely essential. But then on the other side, you have human adoption. And this is where the magic happens. It's all about the spark, the momentum, the meaning that makes an employee truly connect with the tool. The enterprise side builds the foundation, for sure. But the human side, that's what creates the movement. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll define what this other adoption gap really is. Then we'll get into the all-important aha moment. After that, we'll look at how AI goes from being just a tool to a colleague, why things sometimes get stuck, and finally, how to actually spark that momentum. All right, section 1, the other adoption gap. So what exactly is this other gap we're talking about? Well, it's really about moving beyond the corporate checklist, It's about getting into the nitty-gritty of the human experience. Okay, here's the simplest way to think about it. The human-AI adoption gap. It's the distance between the moment AI becomes technically available at a company and the moment it becomes personally meaningful to an employee. See the difference? It's not about access, it's all about connection. So why should we care so much about this human side? Well, think about it. A company can mandate a new system, but you just can't mandate genuine enthusiasm. That's not how people work. But when one person has a really great experience, that story spreads like wildfire. It's organic. And that is how a massive tech investment actually translates into real value and starts to shift the entire culture. And that cultural shift, it almost always comes down to one single powerful experience. We're talking about the aha moment. This is that emotional turning point where everything just clicks. So let me ask you this. Just think for a second. What does that turning point actually feel like? When does a new piece of tech stop being another thing you have to learn and start being something you can't imagine working without? It's that exact moment, the instant an employee realizes AI isn't just saving them a few clicks here and there. No, it's actually reshaping their work in a way that just feels better. It's the data analyst who suddenly realizes, wait, I can stop spending hours formatting slides and actually spend my time finding the real story in the data. It's about the quality and the meaning of the work, not just the speed. This really gets to the heart of it. People truly start to embrace AI when it frees them up from the grunt work, the mechanics, and gives them back the time to focus on the parts of the job that only a human can do. We're talking about judgment, creativity, or genuine care. Now that is a powerful motivator. So this really personal connection, it doesn't just happen overnight, right? It's a journey. It evolves. So let's actually map out that evolution from seeing AI as just another tool to something more, like a trusted colleague. The whole journey usually follows this path. Step 1, AI is an assistant. It's basically a separate tool you go to for specific, isolated tasks. But then, as you use it more, it starts to become a colleague, a true partner that's integrated right into your daily workflow. And down the line, it can even become an agent, handling complex stuff on its own. But you know what? That shift from assistant to colleague, that's where the real magic happens. So what actually drives that shift? Well, it all comes down to one word: trust. When the AI just works, giving you reliable results over and over, when it's seamlessly part of your workflow instead of some clunky, separate thing you have to log into, and when you can clearly connect the dots between the effort it saves and the value you're creating, that's when it clicks. The question in your head changes from, should I use this tool, to, okay, how are we going to solve this? Okay, but let's be real. It's not always a perfect, smooth ride. Adoption can and does hit roadblocks, so it's super important to talk about the common, human reasons why it can stall out. And here's the thing. When adoption stalls, it's usually not a tech problem. I mean, sometimes it is, but more often than not, the real barriers are human. They're emotional, they're cultural, or sometimes they're just plain practical. So what do these barriers look like? Well, first, there's the fear of being replaced. That's a big one. Then there's the user experience. If it's clunky or a pain to use, forget it. People will just go back to the old way. Also, if they can't see exactly how it helps them in their role, it's just noise. And finally, and this is a huge one, if the whole narrative is just about efficiency, 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 it can actually strip the meaning out of work. Okay, so knowing the problems is one thing, but what do we do about them? Let's pivot and talk about some really practical ways to spark that momentum and start closing this human adoption gap for good. And look, this isn't about throwing another training manual at people. It's about creating the right environment for adoption to happen naturally. We need to tell stories, not just list specs. We need to strategically put these tools in places where they can solve real, everyday frustrations. That's how you engineer those aha-ha moments. We've got to celebrate creativity, not just efficiency, build trust by being transparent, and of course, leaders have to walk the walk. So who's in the driver's seat for all this? Well, there are two key groups who can really act as accelerators here. You've got the leaders, who set the tone and the culture, and you've got the marketers, who are the master storytellers. Let's look at what each one does. For leaders, it's all about creating a safe space to play. Give people permission to experiment, and, just as importantly, make it okay to stumble a bit. And you have to use the tools yourself. Then you have the marketers. Their job is to translate tech speak into human stories. They need to make it relevant for each specific role, and, most importantly, find and amplify the success stories from peers, because nothing is more convincing than hearing it from a colleague. And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? This was never about choosing one approach over the other. Enterprise adoption, that builds the engine. But human adoption, that's the spark that ignites it. You absolutely positively need both to turn all this potential into real, meaningful progress. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one last thought. The next big frontier in AI adoption, it's not just going to be about scale. It's not about how many people log in. It's going to be about curiosity, creativity, and meaning. It'll be measured by how well this technology helps us unlock those things in our work. And that leaves us with the real question, doesn't it? How can we help create that kind of experience for everyone?